A college reading course, JScudder, Louisiana State University. Students are placed into this course when the targeted learner's high school GPA was below college criteria, or SAT or ACT scores were below college criteria, or college placement tests were not passed. Students will learn critical reading and thinking strategies for college-level work. This aligns with the Quality Matters Rubric Section 1. The course objectives. Students will be able to apply critical reading strategies to college-level materials, apply critical thinking strategies to college-level materials and assignments, analyze a piece of literature through the framework of story elements, explore and explain the theme of a story through the framework of archetypes of characters and the certain characteristics they possess. Evaluate a piece of literature by rereading the story through the lens of a specific character. This aligns with the Quality Matters Rubric, Section 2. Course information. This course would be offered through Canvas, a learning management system utilized by the university. This LMS offers a wide variety of features, including group meetings, a variety of assignment types, syllabus and course calendars, small group meeting capability, email and chat for private communications, announcements for group communications, and assessment features. Information about how to navigate Canvas is available through the university and would be included on the home page or landing page of the course. Additionally, information would be placed on the home page or landing page about the Accessibility Office and other resources such as the library, the Student Success Center, and other student resources to assist students in their success of the class. This aligns with the QM Rubric 1.5, 1.6, and Sections 6, 7, and 8. Course materials. While many materials are posted to the LMS, because this is a course on how to critically read, there are 3 textbooks. These textbooks would be available through the university bookstore online or through any online bookseller that carries these books. The Complete Fairy Tales of the Brothers Grimm, Jack Zipes, translator. The Uses of Enchantment, The Meaning and Importance of Fairy Tales by Bruno Bettelheim, and The Hard Facts of the Grimm's Fairy Tales by Maria Tatar. Additional materials would be available on the LMS, and there will be a sample of that next. And this would be a sample of the types of materials supporting the textbooks and integrating them together with the course assignments and supporting documents on the LMS. This aligns with the QM rubric, Section 4. So one sample of materials that would be available on the LMS includes this overview of the Brothers Grimm. And so this gives information about Wilhelm and Jacob Grimm and how they collected the stories. They more curated the stories than they did write them, although they did do significant amounts of editing to the stories. The stories first appeared in Children's and Household Tales, originally published in 1812, published again in 1819, and obviously many times since. This is the original Grimm's Fairy Tales. Some other background information is given to them, including the different artists that have worked on this, some of the basic stories and key stories that are included in the collection, and also an attempt to help them understand how far-reaching fairy tales are and that they're not necessarily just stories for little kids. Cinderella is shared amongst many, many cultures. The Perrault version is probably the most famous since that's the one that the Disney movie is based off of. And the Grimm version is probably the most grim of the versions. But Cinderella's origins typically trace back to China. So this helps students to start to see how far-reaching fairy tales are and starts to layer that foundation for later in the course when they'll be looking at fairy tales in contemporary media. So this is one example of some of the supporting materials that would be available on the LMS. The course overview. This would be a 15-week course with 3 units. Generally speaking, students will review and/or be introduced to basic critical reading strategies, application of those strategies with guided reading experiences, analysis of fairy tales for use as models. There will be assignments for research on archetype as models. They will be utilizing the strategies to analyze a specific topic through reading for research, and then how to use that information to write a research paper. This course is designed using the Unit Module Topic Design, or UMT design. The particular unit that is used in this presentation is Unit 3, Nonfiction. Module 1 looks at story structure through fairy tales. Topic 1 looks at the beginning, middle, and end of stories, and this is supported by Chapter 9 in Bettelheim. Topic 2 looks at the story arch, and this is supported by Chapter 22 in Bettelheim and Chapter 2 in Tatar. Topic 3 is the Deus Ex Machina, which is supported by Greek mythology and literature. This aligns with the QM rubric sections 4 and 5. This is a sample of an example that would be on the LMS to serve as a model for students for the graphic organizer of story elements. So this is taking one Grimm's fairy tale, The Brementown Musicians, and completing the graphic organizer for the different story elements: introduction, setting, characters main and supporting, the problem and solution, the episodes, the ending, and the theme. This is one sample of supporting materials that would be available for students provided by the instructor. This is a link to a podcast that would serve as a model for students for one of the podcast assignments that they would have, looking at specific aspects of fairy tales. In the UMT Design Unit 3 Nonfiction Module 2, students will start to look at archetypes. Topic 1, Ogres, supported by Chapter 6 in Tatar. Topic 2, Stepmothers, supported by Chapter 8 in Bettelheim. And Topic 3, Beasts, supported by Chapter 7 in Tatar. This aligns with the QM rubric sections 4 and 5. This is a sample of supporting materials that would be available on the LMS from the instructor. So this is a graphic organizer that looks at one of the story elements, which is characters, and in this case it's particularly looking at fairy tale archetypes. So it looks at, for example, the male characters in fairy tales. They're namely named after their station in life, such as father or prince or huntsman. They often slay dragons and kill giants. They assist the female heroes by nature of their kind hearts and beauty. Another feature that you can see listed here is nature. So that includes things of apples, hazel trees, pigeons, turtle doves, and other aspects of nature that bring a mystical power to the stories. Another sample is the other flip side of this handout, which it's the second page, which focuses on the heroes, which are the females. They typically have descriptive names like Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood. They're usually very innocent, and it's typically their circumstances that make them a victim. And then you get into the category of archetypes of ogres. And there are subcategories within ogres, including women, such as stepmothers or stepsisters, cooks or witches, beasts, which include monsters, wolves, bears, man-eating giants, and social deviants, such as robbers and highwaymen. And all ogre subcategories include cannibalism. So with the UMT Design Unit 3 Nonfiction, the Module 3 would bring all of the assignments that would happen in Module 1 and 2 of this unit, and additionally building on Units 2 and 1 and 2 to the research of an archetype. So topic 1 would look at research reading. How do they take the strategies that they've been learning and apply that to reading for research? Topic 2, analysis of their chosen archetype once they've locked in their choice. Topic 3 is looking at fairy tales in contemporary media, supported by chapters 7 and 18 by Bettelheim. This helps them to better do searches for additional articles and evidence to support their analysis of the chosen archetype. And then topic 4, writing based on research. So they pull all of that together to write the research paper. It's important to note that the final product of their research is not the most important piece. They will receive a grade on it, but the larger portion of the grade comes from the actual process of doing the research, because that is what goes with the goal of the course. Assessments. They will include discussion board forums on the themes of select fairy tales, a podcast on a story element, as mentioned earlier, graphic organizers related to the final research project, building on samples and earlier assignments, as well as the final research project. For each assignment and assessment, rubrics will be included for the students from the initial date of release of the assignment or assessment. And this aligns with the QM rubric section 3. Here's a sample assignment. A fairy tale character archetype graphic organizer. They will have already created a graphic organizer of fairy tale story elements. So building on that, now they'll make a more specific graphic organizer focusing on one archetype. The story elements has multiple parts. It's easier to build. This requires them to dig down a little deeper, and they'll be using Canva to create the character that they have chosen to analyze. So they have to identify what archetype the character is and support that with examples from the text. They have to look at the theme of the story and how that would take shape through the characters or archetypes as lenses. And they need to give examples from the text to support that. And they also need to include a physical description, because typically the archetypes all have specific physical attributes that go with them. It's stressed to them in the assignment itself to look beyond just the grade attached to it, because this is a piece toward their next activity, which would be the Think, Pair, Share. And it also helps them to develop information for a blog post that they would be submitting as an assignment in their final project. So it really is hopefully used as a planning tool to help them prepare for that. And so working through the details really well will help them prepare for the next few assignments and activities. This is the sample rubric. For the graphic organizer, it's very simple. The criteria includes the character or archetype, and did they include a description? Is the explanation clear? Do they provide examples supporting the specific archetype? Are they included in it, in the graphic organizer? Do they provide an explanation of the theme through the character's lens and support that with at least one example? And do they provide the physical description of the character, including any standard characteristics of the archetype? These are the references used for this presentation. Thank you for watching.